And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Ryan Metzler.
Hey everyone, it's Ryan Metzler here again, and today we're going to take a look at another trivia game. We're going to take a look at Battle of the Sexes, which pits males and females against each other to see who knows more about knowledge that is pertinent to the other sex. Or not necessarily pertinent, but mostly known by the other sex. Simply, you're going to answer questions, try and advance a piece towards your side, and if you get the piece all the way there, you're going to be the winner. This can obviously be played by teams of individuals, but can definitely be played two-player as well, and keep in touch or listen to the end of the video for how that exactly works and why I think it's a good option. Here you can see the components for Battle of the Sexes, the game. Now this is obviously a game that pits men against women. And basically it's a trivia game where the men are going to be asking men-centric questions to the women and women asking women-centric questions to the men. And the women start first, of course, ladies first always. They would draw a card and they would ask the man team the top question of the card. So for example, in this case it's loose, French, and rope are all types of what? And so the men would, converse amongst themselves, see if they could answer the question. The answer to the question is obviously braids, but maybe they don't know that. If they come up with the answer, that's great. They would get it right and they would move this trophy one towards their side, with the objective being to get the trophy all the way to your area. If they didn't get it right, the turn would simply end, and it would be the women's turn where the men ask the women the question. Now, there's a third option, and that third option is if they don't think the women know the question, they can use one of their challenge markers, and they get 3 challenges per round. They would place this on the board and say, I challenge. And at this point, the women, not the woman who read the card, but all of the other women would have to answer this question correctly, or the point goes to the men, and this would move on, and the men would get more questions. Now, each card has 3 questions on it. So if you perform perfectly, you can get the points right away. So if they got that one correct, or maybe they challenged and the females got it wrong, they would read the next question, which is who won People Magazine's Sexiest Man Alive honors in 2007? Now, it's Matt Damon, but I wouldn't know that, so I would probably get it wrong. And now my turn would end. I would put this card on the bottom of the female deck because the females read it to me, and I would start asking the females questions. And they have the same options. They can either answer correctly, challenge me, or if they get it wrong, their turn ends. And each time you get a question right, it will move 1 space. So now if they got all 3 right, it would end right here. And we're going to kind of have a tug and war back and forth of questions. Now, for an example of some of the men-centric questions, we have the deck of cards. In a deck of cards, which card is the Suicide King? Well, it's the King of Hearts, but you don't know if your female counterparts will know that. But essentially, you're trying to get these trophies all the way to your side by answering questions correctly in a row and having your opponents miss questions until you get it all the way here, and then you get this trophy. And as you can see, there are 5 trophies in the game. The first team to 3 trophies, best 3 out of 5, is going to be the winner. And there you have it. That is everything there is to Battle of the Sexes. Now, as I said, this is primarily a party game, but we did find a way to play it 2-player, and if you enjoy just kind of a face-to-face challenge, you can definitely play this 2-player by simply covering up the answers with another card while you're playing and not looking at the answers to the questions so that you yourself can take a chance at them if you get challenged. That works out really well. We've done it, and we really enjoy it. Now, the game is fun, it's very easy to play, it's amusing in large groups, and it's good to get, some interaction going. The card quality is really, really poor. Now, not a huge deal, but a negative to just throw out there for you. In addition, I think the replayability here is kind of low. Obviously, you can't play the game a bunch of times because eventually you're going to run out of questions, because if you have a memory like mine, you'll start to remember the answers that were given to you when you got something wrong. That kind of limits the accessibility and the replayability of the game. But for a few plays through, probably a good at least 10, you're probably not going to repeat cards. And that will give you enough enjoyment out of a board game, I think, to really make it worth its money. So if that sounds interesting to you, check out Battle of the Sexes by Spin Master Games.
Thanks for watching our review today. For more information about board games, as well as the #1 board game audio podcast, check out Dicetower.com for reviews, interviews, and more. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.